We started
Yeah.
basically we're about 50% of the way through the design development phase. So we've got about 3 weeks left to finish up the design development piece. And we will come back at that time, was it August 27th, I believe, with an update of our opinion of cost and the full DD set, basically asking for your approval to move on with putting the bidding documents, construction document phase drawings together.
Well,
So-
while I'm thinking of it, excuse me for interrupting you.
Sure.
While I'm thinking of it, in the next month, we're gonna have to come up with the wordage to put this on the November ballot. And so, of course, we will have our bonding attorney either doing that or reviewing it. I don't know if there's any input that you want to have on the November ballot, or if you come up with wordage first and then have our bonding attorney look at it, or how that works, but we will need to.
We usually don't come up with those words.
Okay,
Because
but
they usually-
we wanted to make sure we asked.
But you probably want to, you're
You wanna
going to
look
include
at-
the budget, though, aren't you? You're going to put a dollar amount in there?
Well, we will have a dollar amount not to
That's gonna
exceed.
come from you.
Yeah. Well,
We will have to have a dollar amount that we're gonna do the bonds not to exceed so much money.
Mhm.
And,
So we kind of got, will we be able to have that number?
We'll have that on the 27th.
Okay, perfect, yeah. Because that, you know.
yep, sorry about that, but I didn't wanna forget that
But
today.
that's good, so we all know where we're gonna be at there,
Yeah.
you know, on the 27th.
Okay. So we've got, I think we all probably need to run through the goals for success, but we'll probably run through them next time.
Okay.
As we were talking about that approval, so it's kind of a refresher before we ask for the approval for the completion of that phase. So we've got a lot of, kind of some design changes and refinements, and just a few decisions that are needed.
Turn to the plan, would you gentlemen like to see the furniture on the floor plan or not? Because in the past, we've always seen the furniture, but I moved the furniture to a different plan.
Oh,
So if you want to see the
Hi.
furniture plan,
doesn't this, I'm assuming we'll have furniture.
we can, yes, we will. Let's go upper level first.
Okay.
Walking it up. Okay, ready.
Before we get started here, is there a telephone that we could, do you have a speakerphone?
Yes.
Yeah,
Good. When we get to the courts portion, Scott Hand wants to be called in.
Sure.
So
So
he
you
can,
can listen in,
yeah.
okay?
Well,
Kristen,
that's,
you-
okay, this is the main floor.
We'll
Yep,
start with
this
the main
is the main
floor.
floor. This is to illustrate that we've changed the exterior walls from what we had previously to precast walls.
Okay.
So the walls have all been changed. You won't notice it in elevation, but you'll notice it in plan. So I think all of the spaces around the perimeter have got approximately 5 more inches around the outside, so those rooms got,
Walls got thinner,
yeah, the wall changed
so you
to
got more space.
10-inch precast. I might have to change it back to 11, but that's only an inch, so you're still up 4.
4
the
inches
walls
may
have
not
been
seem like much, but in the
changed.
grand scheme of things, it's quite a bit of square footage, actually.
Yep, but the gross square footage for the building is exactly the same. So I left the outer perimeter walls where they were, and then just the inside walls shifted.
So that changes some intersections a little bit, but we're still able to get the same insulation values
Mhm.
that we have.
Same insulation values.
And
it'll
we're
be
looking at
quicker for putting it.
We got a sample yesterday from the precast supplier that we've been talking with. It's in the back of my car. It's about 150 pounds, so we can go look at it after the meeting
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
and get a sense of it. And we also brought some brick samples and then kind of an example of kind of what you're gonna see. The actual brick looks like this, but because they make these nice corners, we're looking at a separate corner
Yeah,
precast
this is what
piece.
the corner brick will look like, and you'll just smush it into the precast. And I guess the next thing is brick size and color, and Don came on site with this palette, and he picked this color to be the most representative of
Looks good to me.
Mhm.
And so our precast sample is this brick color as well.
Okay,
So
great.
that will be easy for you guys to look at it and have see more
Oh,
bricks
so they
together.
actually cast the brick into, or the,
Yeah,
oh,
the
wow.
brick
Yes,
is,
it's very
the brick's
heavy.
all set.
We
and
didn't
pour
know
the-
it lifted.
pour the precast.
You can almost go over to the site and look at it.
If you
Oh, okay.
wanna help Kevin lift it out of the car, you can.
I looked at it, it looks pretty good.
Does it?
Yeah. But the motor car will change a little bit over time. The big one, the terracotta one. It's essentially the same material that you make brick with, it's just thinner.
Yep, it's just cut thinner. So we'll also need an opinion on whether you think the motor looks okay. We'll look at the sample.
And we're, as far as the size, we're talking about just a standard modular size brick. A lot of times we've used 4" by 12" or 4" by 16", but in this case, with it all in the precast, the reason you do that is because the brick goes up quicker. It's bigger and you can get a lot bigger area done faster, costs a little bit less on the labor side. But with this type of a product, I think the modular size is going to serve you best, and it's going to fit the scale of the building better. So I would propose just to go with the modular size brick, just like the existing building has, and what most businesses see. Be comfortable with that?
Well, that's kind of what we always wanted to do is to, our county services building is that brick, modular, so it's the sheriff's office,
Okay.
keep everything
Yeah.
together.
Yep, so this
Makes
is
a lot of
just
sense.
fit right in.
Right.
The next thing on the agenda was use and acquisition of salvaged Indiana limestone components.
So we have a project that is being deconstructed. So all of the stone elements that you see in that picture are available.
It's not unlike the old school that's located here in town, but it's coming down and we're selling components of it. The school district is, and we're helping to facilitate that. And as we looked at that, we said, all this Indiana limestone is in wonderful shape. It's in great shape. The Indiana limestone lasts forever. Essentially, it's stone, it's lasted millions of years, it's gonna last millions of years more. We're taking a close look at the components and they're in very, very good shape. We could acquire those, and then basically tell the contractor in the bidding documents that they're owner-provided, contractor installed, and save tens of thousands of dollars on the project by acquiring those. You'd just be able to acquire them and then have them shipped to your site and then stored somewhere if you're close.
What do you use them for?
They match a lot of the components that are in the design of the building.
And they could be probably fuse cut, it would have to be.
We use them for the windowsills,
Okay.
or
Window
window
sills?
heads, and then we have enough banding that we could use it for the window sills as well. So I think that we could probably use it for this piece, and then the majority of the heads, I don't believe we have enough for all of the windows, but.
Okay.
How about the base around the building?
Yeah, well, it won't do the base.
Oh.
Well, then this would have to get sent to the fabricator of the panels, then, right?
No, because some of the components, the panels are designed so that those components are added in.
All right.
So they would
Okay,
just
gotcha.
fit into place.
They're designed so there'd be a recess, and that's how we were planning to design them anyway.
Then that base, you could have your precast, if that's gonna be precast, or if that's gonna be a cast stone, you could have them match your Indiana limestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of using that limestone, it lasts forever, I mean, it's probably better than precast.
I think it's a good story to tell too about reusing salvaged material. You're saving taxpayer dollars. You might save as much as $30,000. I put $20,000 on here because you'll absolutely save that much.
We need to
Maybe more.
calculate transportation costs, because we're not quite sure how to get it from Anamosa to here. So we'll have to look into that.
Rail, yeah, rail.
Essentially, the deconstruction contractor that design is out for bid. It's a deconstruction. We'll put in their bid documents, we have put in there that they basically have to take the stone components and remove them from the building and put them on pallets. And the same thing's true for the brick on that project too, because we have bids from other people for the brick material. And so we need to provide them a fair bid price, which we've got an idea of a number in mind that we'll provide to you, and then we'll provide to the school district to make sure they're comfortable with it. I'm sure they will be. But it'll probably end up being about a third of the cost of what would be to buy new one. So it's gonna be a really good deal for everybody, actually. And then you only pay for the pieces that end up on the pallets that are still one piece. If they break a piece or really damage a piece, you're not gonna take that.
The first one they need to damage, so they get to all the other ones. You don't get that one,
Damage the books or not.
just get the good ones, yeah.
So I think it's a really good.
Who's gonna inspect these? You guys?
Christie would be doing an inspection.
Actually,
on
that's
those.
my project,
Okay,
so
alright.
I can spearhead that, that.
The next thing is windowsills on the inside of the building. We've been using another recycled product called paper stone. Familiar with that? We brought some samples.
I think in our cost estimate, when we did our schematic design cost estimate, we were talking about doing solid surface. And paper stone comes in slightly below that number, and you can use it for any sort of transaction top or windowsill. And it's made from paper that's in a resin that's been pressed into a countertop. So I can provide more information if you like it. I've used it for windowsills before, and it has held up very well. So I guess it would be.
What could go wrong with it?
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything that can go wrong with it?
We haven't
or-
seen any problem with it. We've done some testing where we basically set samples in a jar of water and let it sit there for a few years,
Mhm.
and it doesn't do anything. It's amazing.
These colors that you have, or?
These are colors that are available. We have the book in the car if
Well,
you'd be
I'm-
interested in different
But these are the
But
colors.
they're
colors.
basically dark colors?
Yeah,
or-
the dark
Yeah.
colors.
Well, I ordered the dark colors because I thought that you might prefer them. But when we go look at the precast sample, if you'd like to look in the book to see if there are some lighter colored samples, that is an option. But
The darker
from a
is-
wear standpoint, I think the darker might be better.
And the modeled ones sometimes are better than the solid black. I mean,
But the dark ones are really dust covers.
Yeah.
the solid black is
I'm
kind of
thinking-
reminiscent of the slate.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Is the color in the resin, so as it wears, the color doesn't change?
The color won't change at all.
And
Yeah.
then it comes with a 15-year warranty,
These edges are
which
cut
is
edges
more than
eventually.
Oh,
the
sure.
solid
And
surface
then you
comes
sand
with.
it down. And you can work it. You can work it just like wood.
Yeah.
Yep, saw it.
So it's a good product.
No,
that
it
way.
looks like, I wouldn't be afraid of it.
Okay. We've used it quite a bit. We just wanted to show it to you.
Yeah, and you can get it either, glossy, or you can get it
Matte.
with a matte finish.
So this
So
is a
that's something
this a
that we can
finish
check
for
Is
that.
this a lot cheaper than like compared to coriander?
Yeah, it's not a lot, but a little.
I don't think so.
Maybe 10% cheaper.
No,
than
no
Coriander.
glossy, you guys like the matte
So we use it
finish?
for countertops?
Otherwise you'll see everything you're
We
doing.
can.
Yeah.
Have you ever used that on
We've used them for some.
Did you notice they had the matte finish on it?
I guess I did.
This is a matte one, this is.
Yeah, this is that matte here. and
Because it
this-
actually says, this side was sanded and then has a finish.
I'm
And
taking a
then
look at this.
this side was treated with some sort of finish applied to it.
Yeah, I mean, you can feel the difference.
The matte shows fewer scratches.
Mhm.
That's the ideal.
Does it show more fingerprints though? I can't tell.
Well, it does. You can see
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any maintenance with this product either?
No.
Compared to True stone?
No more than Coriander.
Yeah.
And obviously if we went with marble or something,
There's
that's got a lot
definitely-
of maintenance.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that we'll follow up with the cost estimator. I'll give him the numbers that we have for
Yeah.
the solid surface, and then we'll make sure that it meets our criteria, but pursue it if it is a good fit.
Fun idea.
Yay.
Okay. Use of structural insulated panels on the roof. They're called SIPS panels. Familiar with these? Okay.
We mentioned it last time, didn't
Did
we?
you?
We were gonna look at a 6-inch panel, I believe, was what
And
we
that
were
gives you the
pursuing.
hard,
48,
R
I
48.
think so.
Times 8,
Now
48.
those sit directly on the steel truss?
They would, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're able to reduce the number of trusses because they
They're
span
structural.
very far.
Right.
Well, they're structural insulated panels, so we're able to eliminate a few trusses, not very many, but a few. And we're able to eliminate that whole kind of built up time. It saves a lot of time, and it gives us a better continuous thermal barrier.
Okay.
Because
That's what we were
that
wondering.
whole panel provides a better thermal barrier. And what you do is you spray foam into any connections.
We found with the jail design, there was some issues there, where there was exfiltration, and you end up with snow melting, and it freezes. in
You have to be
another
sure that you use spray foam to fill it on those joints.
spot. Okay, that's what they do between those panels.
We'll have
You
to
don't
make
have to,
sure.
then you just put the roof, put a membrane over the top of that,
Yep.
so there's no venting for it.
No venting
We just have to
required.
make sure that, you know, at this detail up top, where the panel comes into the wall, that you can look at that once we have it.
Yeah.
It's not there.
So we'll come to the left side.
Once we have that developed, that you guys will put out and make sure that we keep our
Subspands,
insulation
structural
continuous,
insulation.
that you don't have the ice damming and.
System.
I used them at a school in Wyoming about 7 years ago.
That sounds like a real, I mean, it's probably gonna save construction time.
It's gonna save a lot of time, and it's gonna save some money too, so we're excited about
This building
that.
is gonna go up like,
All of our installations at
once
the
they get
roof,
that concrete poured and.
all of our installations at the roof line. So we're not gonna worry about dry headings for that.
Right.
Just too wet.
That was another thing we liked about it.
Yeah.
You know, we're keeping that thermal barrier at the exterior envelope, not at the seam.
I mean, we don't have to, if we did foam, we would have had to do that.
So that saves money too, right?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit on the sprinkler system.
Yeah, because we're gonna sprinkle at it.
Yep.
That's the plan.
But it'd be a wet system instead of a dry. The wet system's less expensive, and also the friction factor on that pipe is, the wet system is smoother, so it's less pressure drop, and we're
Hmm.
actually a little bit close on water pressure, and so it'll give us a little bit of safety on saying confidently that we don't need to worry about a fire pump. So it's
Like
actually,
that.
Yeah, I like
yeah,
it.
well,
Okay.
Have they done, you do have to do a flow.
I have gotten water of an adjacent flow test, not to just jump in with mechanical in the middle, but we have gotten some flow test data from an adjacent area, and then they're gonna try and do one closer, right at the location to update that data, but, and then we also talked with a sprinkler contractor who we have on a project right now, ran through the calculations with them, and they felt confident we wouldn't have to do a fire pump, but it's, you know, I like to put safety factor in my calculations, and they tell me what it actually is. And we were on that line where we were considering, okay, this is gonna be a little bit close, but I think we can make it work. And just knowing that we can do the wet system in the attic, I think pushes us over to where we're confident it's not gonna be an issue, so
Great.
we should be on a good track there.
The next thing was about the windows, and I saw your email about not wanting to reduce the number of windows. We actually added a couple of windows.
Rest assured that no windows were removed on the main elevation. We added 2 little windows on the upper level. And then we had talked previously about the jury room and the clerk area. They had 4 big windows. So on the upper level here, we reduced it to 3. And then we left it 3 into the auditor on that side, and then on the treasurer side, we added a window directly into the treasurer office, and then into the quiet room. So you still kind of have the same rhythm, but we reduced the upper level windows and then added a few on the lower level.
So overall, we think we like the design still. It doesn't look like there's missing teeth or something like
Right.
It
that.
doesn't look like this is too open or anything, I don't think.
And it works better in the plan. So overall, I think we have maybe a little bit less square footage of glass.
It's gotta look right.
Yeah.
It just-
That's why we
it's
still
different.
do
We
have
just wanted
those
you to
2
see
windows
this.
into the front.
Okay.
It is what
I
it
think
is.
it will be worth it.
Just
Um,
won't use as much electricity when you go in there.
Yeah.
The next question we had was, do you want to use the existing wood columns? And you expressed an interest that maybe we don't want to do that. I'd like to hear your concerns with
I
it.
just talked to one of the contractors, and put them in,
Yeah.
and his suggestion was not to use them, just from what he felt about them. He said the inside of them are treated with a pitch substance or something like that, and they had problems with, when they came, there was like wormhole or bugs still in them or something
Oh,
like that.
really?
And so then they had to do some work on that, so,
Okay.
and they don't hold paint.
Okay.
And if we were to use them, it'd be some sort of a, I suppose it'd have to be treated with some kind of epoxy, wouldn't they? I mean,
Probably, yeah.
I've been, when was it we decided to paint those, and the guy finally showed up 2 years later to prime them, and that was the end of it. Well, I mean, it's too hard to get around there. If it's raining all the time, they don't wanna cut big ruts in the,
Yeah,
You
it's,
know,
it would be
landscape.
easy for us to reuse them. We would probably use a Dietrich chemical product that goes in and solidifies all the wood after we stripped it down. And then, you know, you're painting them horizontal. And so that's
Right.
easy. 10, 15 years from now, when you have to go back and repaint it, because we would obviously paint it with a really high quality paint and have the resin on the side. You have to, you know, probably bring in scaffolding or a boom truck and, you know, paint them. So, you know, the question is
what's
up to
gonna
you.
be the other columns then?
Well, it sounds like you'd like to have something that, you don't have these kinds of issues
Slow
with.
and no maintenance.
Yeah, and that,
That's potentially, yeah.
Because we could use the Flycon product that we had shown for kind of what we were thinking for the cornice.
The brackets and the
Yeah.
detailing in the corners.
We
Yeah.
could do that for.
well,
column
that's
guard.
my thinking. I don't know. I mean, do you wanna use something that's gonna be a constant maintenance problem that we already have a problem getting anybody
That's
to
why it's
address?
on our agenda.
You know, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, well, like if we're gonna buy this limestone, could we sell those to some other?
Yeah.
They're not original to the courthouse at all, so
Yeah.
it isn't like it's a,
Well, and the other thing is you've got two other sides of columns that aren't necessarily gonna
man.
match.
Right.
So you're better off to really have everything matching, I think. I mean,
Okay.
I'm just looking 15, 20 years down the road. I don't want somebody to come along and
I
say,
don't think
well,
that's
what in
unreasonable.
the world is
So-
that use those things for?
So we should look for a source for the existing ones, as we look for a source for any of it,
Yeah.
as it's deconstructed, components are salvaged and reused.
Okay, oh, there you go, Dave, there's your end right there.
Okay.
Okay.
One thing this reminded me of, that I simply want to point out, is since we were thinking of reusing the columns, I beefed up the size of the main columns to match the existing, which is approximately 3 feet around. So the front columns have been beefed up, but then the side columns we left smaller so that it feels like a kind of a secondary entrance. So if you're okay with that, I think I'll leave it, but we'll make them all be the same material.
Is smooth or fluted?
Which would you
Yeah,
prefer?
do you have?
Well, the
a
ones that are on there are fluted, so I would
Right.
say let's stick with the fluted.
Fluted.
Okay.
But that's my, I mean, Stan.
I would
jump
agree,
right
I
on.
think you should stick with the fluid.
And they were all excluded on the original card.
Okay.
All the pictures
So
on
you
it.
can pursue the fluid columns. Okay. I like it.
Okay.
No, but I like the idea of the bigger ones in the front.
Right, because that's the main one.
Because like you say, it gives,
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, I like them, you can see it here in this, how they're more substantial.
Okay, the next thing on our agenda then is the courtroom millwork.
I wonder if we should get Scott on. We got his number.
So we got a phone here, we'll dial him up.
Okay, we'll go to the top of the page. You want to start with the, what do you want to start with, Ray? District?
Well, let's just go to the 8-inch plan first, I guess.
Okay. That would be.
It's four
Oh, I'm sorry.
one, I don't know if you need to dial one or not, but
Well, we gotta get out first,
Oh, okay.
and that's 9. Okay,
Okay.
what's his,
it's 641. 494. Oh, and then 3611.
3 6s and 1?
No, 3611. There you go.
You want to come and take my spot?
Well, I don't, you can stay there, I'll just stand.
Elevation sheet or plan sheet?
This is good, I'm just gonna go through some of the changes we made since the last time, and then we'll go look at the elevation.
Yeah, Scott, this is Joe from Oakland Road, and we're gonna put you on speakerphone. Okay? Can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, here we are.
I'm gonna ring the clerk real quick. Karen has to be available to fill out this morning, so
Okay.
I'll have her come down as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you send, were you able to send him?
Yeah, in fact, I don't know why, but we
Here's on our way down.
It went
Okay.
into junk, and I sent it to him this morning.
Christie and Kevin and
I was
Ray are
thinking you
good.
were working late last night.
Well, I was, but I should have followed up with him.
Yeah. Scott? There's a beacon.
Turn my phone off from that
Oh,
phone here.
okay. Scott, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
here we go.
good. Okay, we'll just start here and then interrupt whenever you have a question.
Okay, right now, we're looking at the 1/8" floor plan A10.3. I don't know if you're looking at the drawings as well.
A1.3, yeah, I see that.
Okay. I just wanted to just talk about some of the changes that occurred to the plan since the last time since the end of
We're
schematics.
actually, we're on 10.3, not 1.3. So we're kind of starting
Yeah,
at the back.
A10.3.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
that's the furniture plan showing the, the courtroom. Okay, yeah, I just want to go through a couple of the changes we made, and one was we doubled up this wall, we recessed the projector screen in the wall, so now it's not gonna come down from the ceiling, it's gonna come down from the wall, so when it's up, you won't even know it's there. Okay. And then in the back, to try to identify the public seating and the well area, the ceiling has been dropped over the public seating, and it's been narrowed. The seating count remained the same. Okay, so we didn't reduce it. These need to be pulled
Yeah,
in. But I think we still have 9 feet there for each of these.
yeah, we do. It's
Yeah,
shown in
so
large.
we get the same count, and the wall's been carried in, and there's been a little articulation where it goes from public to the well,
Okay.
in the wall, so it looks like maybe a column or something. Let's see, what other changes? Other than that, I think everything stayed
Yeah, I think
pretty
that's
much
the only
the
thing that
same.
really changed it.
Yeah. So, what we started doing is looking at courtroom interior elevations and the reflective ceiling plan, and then some of the millwork detailing.
What do you want to go to?
You wanna look at the ceiling?
You want to do ceiling or?
Well, we can, if you want to go to the ceiling first, yeah, we'll show what's been dropped.
So if you go to 8.3, it'll show the courtroom ceiling plan.
A1.
Oh, 8.3.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, and at this point, we're showing, we need to talk with mechanical
About the fusers.
about the fusers and access.
Okay.
Because this may not stay all sheet rock if we need a lot of access panels. But right now, we're showing a hard ceiling over the well area, and then we've got acoustical panels, and either it's going to be a 2x2 or a fabric covered panel or something back here. But we need acoustical panels on the ceiling over the seating. So the seating area is dropped down to about 11 feet. I think we're 13'6" is around the perimeter of the well, and then the skylight, or the not the clear story, but the light well ceiling goes up to 15 feet, so that's gonna be a nice space. And then there'll probably be some type of pendant fixture in the center. So that, are you looking at, you're probably looking at 8.3?
Correct.
Okay, good, so you can kind of see that.
Yep.
Other than that, is there anything else we want to talk about
We just
here?
updated the courts, really.
Yeah, And it would be nice if we could pick up some of the same detailing that we have right here around this, if we could, so. Okay, now let's go to the courtroom, let's go to the district courtroom elevations.
It's been busy.
Well, yep. We still got a lot to do.
Okay, I'm sorry this got so dark.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay, so if you go to sheet A 1.5, it has the district court floor plan and interior elevation.
Right, and let's see, we have two set, these down here,
Yeah.
these were the alternate,
Yep,
So-
yep, alternate.
but that was to discuss, you know, the differences, but let's look at the ones at the top. 2 through 6. And basically, what we're gonna have is probably the wall on basically what you're looking at there is wood trim with an acoustical panel fabric wrapped infill. And this is just gonna be a veneered, you know, wood, plywood cut up, veneered the edges and placed. It's not gonna be solid hardwood. There'll probably be some solid hardwood at the base and at the work surface edges. But otherwise, everything's gonna be veneer. And it comes up to about, all the dimensions are,
It's 10'2".
it's about 10'2". So it comes up to 10'2". Everything above 10'2" is just sheet
10'2",
rock.
yeah, is the bottom. So
Yep.
the top of the door is 10'2".
Okay. Let's see. Well, those I think are just gonna be acoustical panels unless we wanna do wood on these. But if you look at 6,
You can see that
yeah,
you're seeing this face.
right, if you look at 6, that's the face looking back into the public seating, so that's the bump on either side. So it defines that space. And then the ceiling drops down to here. I don't think that line's there, but maybe, no, that should be eliminated. That's probably, you know what that's showing? I think that's showing the wall beyond.
It's the back
It
wall.
could be.
Yeah. But in any case, then when you get, so the wall treatment in the courtroom is a rhythm of these verticals, but when you get back into the public seating, it'll just be a solid panel of fabric. So it kind of defines that area as something different than the wall. And I don't know what type of light fixture we're gonna get, but we'll get some type of light fixture here.
Something fancy.
But it's pretty much the entire wall is acoustical panel, right?
No, what we're gonna end up with is acoustical panel behind the jury box and all the way through the public seating. This wall and this wall, those can be fabric covered MDF.
Oh, okay.
So these are reflective and these are absorptive.
Okay. So even though it's panelized,
It's
it'll look
still,
like.
it'll look
it'll
just
have the
like
same
that.
look, but
The same look, but it'll be just a MDF
So
board.
we're talking,
Okay, and
so
then,
we're talking the, I'm sorry, just to write it down, the north wall and the east wall of the district court would be the fabric wrapped.
right,
Okay.
and at some point, we'll
Okay,
shade these walls so that the
Okay.
contract, you know.
Yeah, we'll have to
working
label
right.
it.
Yep.
okay.
And Kevin just asked the question, what's this little box that sits on elevation 4? And that's the projector box. And typically, we'll have a door that lifts up, and then the projector's gonna be on a little rollout, and it'll swivel so you can change the light bulb, put it back. The issue with that is, we need about 15 inches. So we're gonna have to look and see what we can do to this wall in the jury room. There may be a bump. How high is that? I was trying to keep it
Maybe it's
at
above
the
the
top
ceiling
of
of the jury
the,
room.
I hope so, but those windows go pretty high in the jury room, don't they?
Up to 9 feet, I think, so I think I have a 9-foot ceiling showing
These
there.
are quarter inch. Well, it's up at 8 feet, so even if we just drop the ceiling along the edge a couple, it's not gonna be that much. We can
We can
reduce
figure
that.
that
Well,
out.
it's up
We'll figure that out.
Okay.
But that's the intent at this point. And we'll come, on the 27th, we'll have it detailed. If you look at section, or the elevation 2, the dashed line is the screen that drops down. So that's how big the screen's gonna be. It's about a 10 foot. I think it's about 10 feet. Yeah, 10 foot wide screen. And the doors, we don't know what's gonna happen above the door. That could be just a solid panel, it could be a fabric panel, it could, you know. Right now, just show the style of the door, or panel that's up here. But all the doors were kind of set from the judge's bench. The judge's bench door is at about 7'10", and then we kept the head height the same, so that the entry doors into the courtroom are gonna be about 8'6" or 8 foot something. So I think that's better than going with a 10-foot door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and actually, Scott, I have a question for you. If you look at elevation 5, the panel above those doors could be glass, so that you could look through and see something beyond. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see outside, but there'll be light beyond.
No, since that's the sound block, you'll just see into the.
Well, you could do it on both doors, and then you could see through. Do you think that would be distracting? That's something you can think about. We don't have to make a decision right now. Either that becomes a wood panel up there, or it could become glass.
Could be either one. It'd be up high enough where I don't think it'd be a distraction.
Okay. Now, the question is, on your other courtrooms, do you like to have glass in the entry door so that people can stand in the vestibule and look in without interrupting the proceedings? Because that could be a glass door there where people could stand in the vestibule and see what's going on, but not come in. That may be a question for a judge too, because...
Yeah, it would be. I made a note on that, so.
Okay. Let's see, what else can we talk about here? Oh, what is this structure? You're starting to show structure here.
I think it's just gonna be built up, with a concrete slab on top of something.
Well, what I typically do for all raised appliance is just build it up out of wood and fill it with insulation.
Okay, it doesn't feel
But,
hollow or?
but no, because then we do 2 layers of plywood, and it doesn't feel like a drum.
Doesn't be treated.
It may have to be fire treated up well. But if you fill it up with fiberglass, then you'll have to
Yeah,
sprinkle it.
you have that shown kind of on the millwork.
Yeah, I started to show that. But in the back area, where all the chambers are raised,
Yeah.
it'd be good if maybe structural could do something there, so we
We
don't
wanna
have to
do
go over that.
something
It's
that
only
is
6
built
inches.
up so that they could remove it someday if we ever wanted to.
Okay,
Is what we had
then
talked
just
about.
put in insulation and some concrete over the top.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking,
Yep.
was just doing a thin layer of concrete on top, so it felt substantial, but was
Yep.
removable down
And you
the
could
line.
just use a heavy foam, foam instead of,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so any questions on this, Scott?
No, looks good.
I think it's gonna be a nice little courtroom with the ceiling height that we're able to get.
That's good.
And I think it's gonna be pretty economical in terms of the way it's put together, so.
And the next page will take you to the millwork for the district court. Are you ready
Yeah.
for that, or do you want to go to the other?
They're both, the millwork's gonna be the same for both of them. Let's do the other courtroom.
Okay, so that would be, this is the magistrate.
Yeah. Okay, go to A 1.8. Scott. This is the magistrate courtroom. We're keeping the same ceiling heights, but the courtroom becomes a lot smaller, and actually the well becomes a square, which I think could be nice. It's gonna be nice, actually. And let's see.
I may have messed this up, so.
It looks okay upside down.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't know, it's pretty self-explanatory. The same issue with the door, we'll have to talk to a judge on that. The one thing we could talk about is the panel behind. We haven't identified, the hinging, but there's gonna be 2 of these panels behind the witness that will be opened up, Scott. And either that could be a whiteboard in this courtroom, or it could be the smart board. And I think a smart board, or we could do the doors with a future smart board that could be added. But, you know, it'd be nice, you could display evidence here, you could annotate on it, you could draw on it, and it would all be recorded, you know.
Do a whiteboard on the back of the doors too,
No, no.
so when they're open, you have twice as much area.
Well, you
Could do whiteboard and
could,
smartboard.
you could do whiteboard.
I was thinking you could put.
Oh, you could do
smartboard in the
whiteboard
middle.
here and then smartboard in the middle,
Yeah.
that'd be really nice.
That'd be ideal.
But you can also draw on the, you know, on the smartboard and then have it digitally captured.
Mhm.
So,
One of our judges who used to be a magistrate says that drawing on a whiteboard goes on a lot at the small claim level.
right, I figured we need that. This is something to think about, Scott, because right now, that's really the best place for evidence, or for any type of presentation, if you've got anything digital.
I would say even if you only put in a whiteboard, not the smart board, we probably still want data connections and power for the smart board.
Yeah,
in the
data and
future.
electrical, yeah.
Yep, I agree.
So for electrical, we just plan on it's gonna be there.
And then the other question I had in this courtroom that we need to talk to the judge about is this lectern or the podium gonna be in here all the time, or is that something that gets moved back and forth? And I'm assuming, I've dashed in the little, the evidence presentation card, I'm assuming that that's gonna be moved from courtroom to courtroom.
That would be my assumption as well. Just like,
I don't think it's gonna be used that much in this courtroom, to be honest.
correct.
Did they have a lectern in the magistrate courtroom before?
No.
Oh, they didn't? Okay. Well, it works fairly well, it works pretty well right there, if you want to have one. The lectern is not going to be on wheels, but it's going to be movable, it's not going to be bolted down. But the evidence cart is going to be on wheels, so you can easily roll it around, put it back in storage, get it out of the courtroom. There's going to be a box underneath there's going to be probably 3 boxes, one underneath each of the attorney tables and one under the lectern. And I brought this, is electrical.
Yeah, I can dig it.
Are you electrical?
Mhm.
You probably, here, I guess.
Or, yeah, I put them all together.
Oh, okay, great.
What's that bad?
No, that's good. This box is something you should look at. I've used it in the past. It's a
Oh,
pull
sure.
through, and it's a 2-hour rating.
Yep.
If you probably use those too. And so that's, we need 3 of those in each courtroom. And so what you do is you put it here, and then when the cart comes up, you just feed it through into the sidewall of that, plug it in.
Right.
And then on the top of the evidence presentation cart, we'll have a cable cubby that everything goes down and ties to. I've got a cable cubby in here too. But basically, on the cable cubby, you've got all the cables hooked in, so all the attorney has to do is pull it out, put it in the back of the laptop. And those will occur at the attorney tables and at the evidence presentation.
Sure.
And any questions on this courtroom, Scott?
Don't believe so.
Okay.
Good.
But the actual bench, judge's bench and witness stand is going to be identical in both courtrooms, other than maybe the work surfaces are going to be a little bit smaller. I'm sure the clerk's area is a single instead of a double. In the other courtroom, you could put 2 clerks in there if you had to. In this one, you just get 1 clerk. Or court assistant or whatever. I think you call them something different than clerk. Okay, and then if you go.
The judges, it's sight line.
Yeah, the sight lines are gonna be real, I mean, with a corner bench, you get really good sight lines. So you're gonna have good sight lines in these corners, both of them. Go to A 1.6. And this is a blow-up of the district courtroom. We haven't got one of the magistrate yet. But it shows all the dimensions you're gonna have. And,
Mine's not so blown up, it's 8.5 by 11.
oh. Well, in any case, these are the elevations of the millwork and the sections down below. We're gonna have to blow these up, but what, basically, it's gonna be the same, this will all be wood, and it'll, you know, pick up the same type of dimensions that we have on the wall, so it all ties together. If you look at 13 through 17, those are sections, we're gonna have to blow those up, but it shows a section through all the work surfaces, and below each work surface, there's gonna be wire mold, which I have on that sheet as well. Yeah, that's pretty. But there's a plug mold and a wire mold, and well, that'll take care of both the high voltage and low voltage. Yeah, there you go. And it'll just run continuous so that there's flexibility. All the cable, all the low voltage will come up from below this platform, come up. You can remove panels, get to it, pull new wire. It's going to be easily changed out. Or if you don't put the wire in to begin with, then you can pull it real easily. And it'll all go back to that data closet, or the AV closet between the courtrooms. I don't know if there's a whole lot more to. Now, at the clerk's area, I'm not sure how much they need for shelving for papers or for evidence, I guess they could store it here. There's two shelves that are about 12 inches deep and what is that? No, for width, it's probably about 3 or 4 feet.
So it's 3.5 feet.
3.5 feet. It's about 3.5 feet by, a foot deep, where they could put evidence or paperwork, that they're passing back and forth to the judge. Other than that, do you think they're going to need much more storage?
No, that would suffice.
Okay, because I know that all the evidence is not going to be left in the courtroom. It's going to be taken back to the clerks afterwards. So.
I have a question about the whiteboard behind the witness stand on this one. How big are those panels, and is that going to swing out when it's open? Is that going to block the vision from the bench?
Oh, well, no. You mean, when the doors are open, they lay against the wall.
Okay.
And you get a whiteboard there. Is this 1/2 inch too? You get a whiteboard that is over 6 feet wide. That should be plenty. And what we're probably going to do there is just do a paint coating on sheetrock. Have you ever done that before? No. We'll have to look at different possibilities.
I've seen it, but I have not done
Yeah, I've seen it too. I've never
Oh,
done
not a paint coating.
it. It is a
We've
paint
done like a
coating
thin
over
film.
a slate blackboard.
Well, we'll come up with something. It's going to be, even if we put a board in there, it's thin.
It's thin.
So.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. You can even get it roll.
Yeah, and then
Stick on or something.
And then so that works real well for the whiteboard, and I think you're going to be real happy with that drop-down screen.
Okay, any questions on that?
I believe so.
I have one question for you. What type of seal do you put in your courtrooms? Do you put a state of Iowa, or is there a district?
By the time this is done, it'll be an electronic seal.
No, what's an
On the back wall.
On the back wall.
On the back of the wall, gotcha. We don't do much there. If we were to do something, we would do that.
What-
We don't really have any seal emblems. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so we could use the state of Iowa then.
Leave some flags.
So you don't have seals in any of your courtrooms?
No. There's state court, right?
Well, this is a state court, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but that's the feds do that, they have all the money.
No, we'll give you one. We'll give you two, one for each courtroom.
They're cheaper than they used to be.
Yeah, this will be it'll be styrofoam.
Yeah, I've seen them.
No, we'll try to find a nice one. But it would be a state it would be an Iowa seal then, correct?
Well, I'd have to look. I do know of some. They don't have any in our district, but there are some out there. I can look into that if you like.
Yeah, do, and see what would be the most appropriate. Okay, well, any questions on this courtroom?
I don't believe so.
Anything else, Ray?
I don't think I have anything else. The cut sheets, Scott, you don't have this, but I'll send them to you. We had cut sheets here on different devices that are gonna be placed. And I do have a cut sheet on the benches. And it is, because this bench is a really nice bench. I've used it over and over and over again. Dakota Furniture quit making it a year ago. And they sold the company to this, they sold the design to this company, and now they're making it. And so,
Even if they weren't a custom, you can get a custom.
Yeah, that's true.
It'll come in probably even.
yeah, but in any case, this is a nice bench, and we can get it in any wood, so if they decide to go cherry, you can get it in cherry. If you have white oak, they'll get it in white oak.
Okay,
And,
great.
Hey Ray, if you've got this exact same bench, same dimensions, layout in a courtroom where a judge could visit, I'm guessing I would probably have a judge that would want to go check it out.
Fargo. Fargo Federal Courthouse.
Oh, you don't have one in Alaska?
Yeah. I got one in Tucson. Where else have I got them? I think there's one. It's probably one in St. Paul.
Nebraska.
Yeah, could we,
Oh,
Is
you
there
know
a
what?
showroom or
Actually, we
something?
just asked them. They probably got them all over the place in
Yeah.
Iowa.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
we can find
So Ray will
out.
get
We'll
that.
find out. But it's a very comfortable one-piece bench. It doesn't have a flat bottom and a flat, it contours to your body. And it's probably that was the most comfortable one out there. Not only that, but it's one piece, so it looks like a solid piece of wood. It's real nice. We'll just go with open ends. Oh, Sioux Falls has one too. So I don't know, if you ever get over and, towards the corner, the northwest corner of Iowa, it's right there.
Ray will call the manufacturer and see if
Yeah.
there's some other ones that are closer.
That'd be great. I'm guessing I'd have at least one judge who would be able to sit down on it, just look at the lines and the heights and everything
Well,
else.
this is the public seating bench.
Oh, no, I'm not worried about that.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, this is just the public seating pew.
You don't care if they're comfortable?
Keep a cushion.
Okay.
Okay,
Anything else?
so that's about it.
Okay.
Now, Scott, if you have anything if you have any comments, we're gonna continue to develop this, so
Okay?
I can incorporate whatever you see needs to.
Back on that
As long as it's in our budget.
Yeah,
Yep,
I hope that, we're gonna, by the way, in about a week and a half, we're gonna send this off to the estimator and try to get a handle.
Is that the lectern there, kind of in front of the bench?
Yes. No, in front of the bench is a work surface for the reporter.
Okay.
The lectern is out in front of that, kind of towards the end of the witness box, or the jury box. It has the dashed, there's a dashed line showing the evidence presentation card, right adjacent to it.
Okay, so the lectern's right next to it?
Yeah,
You think maybe we should add some terminology to this?
yeah, I
So that
think it
it's
would.
easier to.
And we'll probably have to say, see such and such a sheet for, we'll add a lot of, we ought to say witness clerk.
That lectern, what they do is, during jury selection, they may turn that and face the jurors with it.
I've done that before. So if you wanna do that, I can rotate it.
Well, not necessarily like.
Can't you
the power,
physically
but
turn it back and forth?
Physically,
I mean,
Can you turn it
it's
even if it's
somewhat
not on
movable,
wheels?
right?
No, I've done it so that you don't have to twist the wires on the bottom, you just take the top and rotate it.
Oh, so just the top
And you
moves?
just do a turntable that locks.
that'd be nice.
That'd be nice.
I just did one of those in Duluth.
That's pretty simple, really, that's just a piece of
Yeah.
piecework.
Yeah, yeah, the judge wanted that done at Duluth and.
If you don't do that, they're gonna be spinning it manually.
Yep.
Like that right now.
No, that works real well, so we'll make sure we
Didn't have a
detail it that
wiring
way.
issue.
Yeah, you get a wiring issue if you start rotating. When they turn that, is the evidence cart typically there?
No, they wouldn't be using that
Oh,
at that
perfect.
point. This is probably just for opening and closing
Perfect,
arguments and jury
Okay.
selection.
okay. You know, another thing we could do is maybe, do you think this is a better location for the evidence cart on this side or the other side? When an attorney works, does he like to turn, I don't think, attorneys don't like to turn their backs to the jury. I wonder if we should put the evidence card on the other side, so when they're looking at, when they're doing something, they're kind of directing, they're not turning their back on the jury, they're looking at them. Think about that.
Right. Okay?
Okay, that's it. We'll just keep moving, and hopefully I'll have some images I can show you of some of the detailing next time.
Sounds good?
Are you gonna be at the next meeting, Scott? I think it's on the 27th.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, the next thing then was, on the agenda is the,
Yeah, 27th looks good. Both Karen and I will probably be there.
okay,
Okay, I think then
The
we're
call.
done.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome, thanks.
Bye.
Now we're in the mechanical engineering.
Hey, look at that.
I just printed the one sheet. I hope you didn't want the other one.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
And really, the only thing we changed on this was the geothermal field for discussion, because we were talking originally about, you know, we had talked about going across the street if we had to. We had talked about staying out of the parking lots that we have to do demo. And then we had a layout last time that kind of had cut out some areas and come down here, and it was kind of a convoluted layout. And so we talked about just simplifying it, and that we may have to interfere with one tree. And so instead of coming down where I'm running bores underneath this tree, where we might lose this tree, I came down at the middle, and then it's just this one tree really that we're affecting. And this whole area would be pretty torn up for the verticals, but we were able to get 32 bores in here. And as the design gets further along and we get equipment selected, we can refine this number. You know, maybe there's 2 more here or 3 here, or maybe we knock a couple off. You know, so maybe if we can eliminate, we can continue to adjust it, but if we're okay with worst case, I think we take out this tree. Then I think we can make the well field work there with vertical 300-foot deep bores, like we discussed last time. So, and this on-site mechanical unit needs to shift because we need to coordinate with the screen wall yet, but the concept still stays the same. And then right now we're saving money by not doing a vault out here where we header everything. So all the pipes will go back in. Each of these is really 2 pipes because there's a supply and return. So we'll have, you know, a set of 8 or 10 small 2 or 3 inch pipes coming in, and then there'll be valves on the wall in here to be able to isolate each leg. So I think we have a good layout that's feasible, and then we can continue to refine it and detail it as we get the design finalized. But right now, I think we have a good solution, and it's close to the building. So we don't have a lot of,
Mechanical room.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah, it is. So we don't have a lot of pump energy or a lot of wasted pipe. So I think it's really an ideal location for it, so.
You don't see anything on the surface.
No, we'll know it's there, except for putting it in is gonna be a mess. So you'll see something on the surface during installation, because it'll get pretty torn up. And so that's why we were concerned about the trees. But it looks like it's just the one that we're worried about at this point, so. You know, and maybe a bush or something here. There's some, you know, there's gonna be some incidentals, but we stayed away from the rest as much as we could, so.
One thing, Christy and I were looking at this yesterday, at the end of the day, And one thing I remember when I looked at the electrical transformer pad location and
Yes.
such, they've got a set of overhead, of doors up high on the day room.
Oh, for access right here?
Right, so we
Okay,
can make
we need
sure
to stay clear of
that
that.
we probably need to shift that transformer to the north a bit. But we need to verify that for sure, so they can get forklift or whatever they use to put stuff in there.
Is that on one on the west side of the
It's
hill?
just open for daylight or
Right,
something,
yeah.
right? But my guess is someday, that'd be a great place to be able to move things in and out. Somebody's gonna say, boy, if we could get a forklift in there,
Anything can happen.
yeah.
There is one little issue, there is some gas line that runs back
Through here.
there too, yeah. To the
That might interfere
to
with
the
this.
generator.
Okay, yeah, I think it's this,
Oh, yeah, you
It's
got
not
underground
showing
gas.
all the way
underground
through.
gas right here, but
And
it goes
it
all
goes
the way
all the
it
down
goes
way.
all the way through?
Yeah.
to the
Okay.
generator down there.
Okay.
And I think it's flagged right now.
It is, Mark. Yeah, it wasn't earlier.
And the dump bank location, is that a relocate? Can you tell us about that?
I would have to ask James, I'm sorry.
Okay. I wonder,
I think it was new.
do we need to move our electrical room space to accommodate that, or? We'll talk with James.
Part of
Yeah,
that-
I'm sorry, Kevin,
We just
To
haven't,
bring
we
the
just haven't talked
services
about
over
it
to.
yet.
Yep.
or-
We'll coordinate.
he may have breezed over it in the past, or he snuck
It
it on
may
my
just be, it
drawing.
may just be a
I think you might have
placeholder
snuck it
too.
on there.
I think he snuck it on there
I
after
think
the
you
last
snuck it on
meeting,
there.
maybe, and
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance
Surprise,
to,
we'll
yep.
just let you
You're talking
take
about
that one
this?
home.
Yes.
Well, Barb wanted that from the county services building to her
Okay, that's what that
area.
is.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense then.
So we need to talk, we need to coordinate where it comes in though and make sure we're,
It's in the right place.
Yeah,
okay.
That's
yes,
what
that's-
it's
that's
for
for
Barb.
sure.
Exactly the right place.
good, okay.
This area here, then you say gets tore up pretty bad, and that's fine, but when it gets restored, can you put up trees on that, or do you need to stay away from that?
You pretty much stay away from
Don't
it.
put
Okay,
the,
well, that's what I wanna know, because if
Yeah,
somebody.
with a
Just
vertical
grass.
well field like that, we stay away from it.
Right.
Just
Um,
grass.
Yep,
Yeah, no, that's fine, I just wanna make sure, we kinda know that.
yep, and they'll,
Flowers would be nice.
I think we'll tracer wire the
No
main
bulbs.
here so that you can locate that if you need to avoid it, but no big spikes going
So
20 feet
how,
down into the ground or anything like
so how far below the ground are these?
that. They'll stay below the frost, so it'll be a minimum of 6 foot
Okay.
with the headers.
Yep.
They'll trench a pretty good trench when they lay these header pipes, because these will all just lay below the surface,
Right.
and then these will just be, during construction, you'll just see these pipes sticking out of the ground until they go back and connect them all and header them together, so. And they can go back and sod or seed or.
So everything's 6 feet down?
Yeah, it'll be a minimum, there'll be a minimum
For-
ground clearance
At
to,
the- at
so
the
that we're not
commercial
letting
levels.
ambient air affect the well
Yeah,
field
well,
temps
good.
too much.
That's quite a bit, you can do
So.
anything you want, except for a big tree.
Yeah,
Yeah, as long as you're not planting big trees.
Yeah.
Or even a big bush.
And we've done, with horizontal, we've done where we bore right under trees, because those are 15 feet down. But these are a little bit shallower, so.
Okay,
That horizontal's more expensive, isn't
It takes more ground space. It can be a little more cost effective actually, because you
it?
get,
and
Oh,
we're pretty tight. We're pretty
Unlabeled.
tight on space.
yeah, we couldn't make horizontal.
I thought horizontal shots wanted to put in.
If you have to buy land, then I would say yes.
Yes. They have to move the drill rig less, because they can go up to 600 feet.
Oh.
So you might only move the drill rig once for 2 bores, so. It's pretty competitive, we've seen it come in cheaper, so.
How to find a septic tank, how to whatever.
Okay.
Like you say, it doesn't all have to be nice and painted, it just has to give a lot of information.
Do you gentlemen have any questions on the design before we move on to some of the little logistical things?
Do you want to look at the drawings? Worked really hard.
We look at the
Let's
other.
look at them, I think we ought to be looking at those.
Why don't you review?
That way we can't say we didn't see it.
Well, I think the
You've
big thing
seen-
is just going to be, just want to show you the floor plans. And in terms of anything changing, we've changed the walls to get them more refined and nudge things. But at this point, we're just taking what we have and blowing it up into larger pieces that we can then detail it. So I don't think anything was really changed on the lower level.
Do you have some coat closets down here?
There's a coat area here, and I have to check with structural before I add the coat.
With these heavy lines that you're
Heavy
trying to.
lines are, this heavy line is directing you to 4 on A 7.1,
Okay, so that's
where
the
I'll have
detail.
a blow up of this
All
piece,
right.
yep. And then I have a bathroom blow up
Okay.
on A 7.3. So this is just directing you to the other sheets to
Okay,
give the
gotcha.
contractor.
You know where there's
information.
plumbing and detail, see these two themselves too? Use that.
Yep, so and then there are, sections drawn through the entire stairwell and then for the walls. And then on the main level, it'll look very bare because the furniture got all moved to the furniture plan. So this is only showing you stuff that has potential to be built in and not be a piece of furniture. So starting to show some of the countertops that might be more permanent, and then blowing stuff up on the detail sheet. I think we're still fine tuning some of the furniture in terms of what existing furniture will be reused. So Don is spearheading that effort, but he and I are gonna coordinate, and that'll be updated for the next step. And then on the upper level, starting to show the floors, since the floors are permanent. Starting to show, where the height change is, and then just our blow-ups. And just tweaking a few of the walls for coordinating with Ray. And so if we were to go to A 7.1 and look at one of my sheets, you would see blow-up plans of each of the 3 stairwells, and then we'll go through and dimension and give more information on how the handrails are gonna work. And then we'll show a section here, and it'll show just kind of what the stairway looks like. But I'd be happy to go through anything else.
There's a lot of wall sections.
Yep, we have a few pages of wall sections, and I think the neat ones are gonna be how we end up detailing with the column and the wall and what this ends up looking like. So we have some pretty big sections here, and then we have, some more typical, we have building section, which is pretty generic. Still shows all the furniture, which I'm thinking I should turn off, but just got some generic, you can see the structure of the precast and that started. And then on the next sheet, we've got, like this is just gonna be the typical wall section. So you can see the precast to the concrete, to the stone banding, to the top, and then we have to, revise the roof to accommodate the SIPS panels in that depth.
So precast walls will start, here or here, or
Precast is gonna start
right
here.
there, okay,
Yep,
What is
and then this
precast?
is gonna be an angle ledge for this
okay.
to sit on.
Now, that precast wall system, is it the whole thickness, and all you do is come in and put sheet rock on it? Or is there footing
There's
strips?
gonna be, you can see, here. This is the precast wall, which is 10 inches, and then we have some metal studs here, which will
Okay.
get the foam insulation in it, and then we have our gypper on top of that, so you'll have your nice finished wall. So the wall, is still 5 inches less, but it's still pretty
Yeah,
beefy
no,
by the time
I-
we get it's gonna be, 13 and a half or 14 inches deep, but it's gonna be really well insulated.
That's
Very
good.
nice. And here you can see, toilet partitions, starting to show some of that detail. Structural has stuff to
On that note, it's just made me think, with the insulation values we have and the load calculations we're doing, we were able to make that well-filled fit because it's smaller than a typical building would be of this square footage. You know what I mean? So we're
do.
already,
Because the load is less.
yeah, the load is
is
already
efficient.
clearly less per square foot than a typical building or a rule of thumb I would normally use.
Okay.
So that actually helped us make that well-filled actually work.
So
That's just
Yeah.
good peace of mind that we're heading in the right direction, so.
Great.
And if we
It's a
can
good thing to
accommodate
see.
it through the precast and through stuff that we're doing anyway, and don't have to, add a whole lot of stuff, that's even better.
Excellent.
I'm trying to think. It's not super exciting. We've got ceiling plans started in terms of where we're gonna have tile ceilings and we're starting our schedules and
Room for a schedule. Plot it out here.
we
Yeah, that's fine.
So at this point, we've got everything generated, we've got all our sections cut, and everything, we just have to add some more detail.
You got a lot of
for our
information
DD
for our
stuff.
cost estimator.
Mhm.
When we turn that over in about a week, we're gonna have a lot to go on.
Yep, the end of next week, I'm gonna send the drawings to the printer in Ames for the cost estimator, and
Okay.
then they'll have that following week to pull together their costs and ask their questions, and then we'll fine tune it for the meeting on the 27th.
Is the electrical raceway, is the whole building gonna use the same system like the courtrooms has, or will we have something different on the other levels?
In terms of raceway,
Yeah.
that only occurs at the workstation,
Okay.
like in the courtroom, unless there's a need for it at some of these work counters, and that could be incorporated in some of the work counters as well.
We'll have to look at.
Not quite there yet on that.
Not quite.
Okay.
Yeah, typically it would be for flexibility of design. In a typical space like this, you would still have convenience receptacles and data receptacles lining the walls. But
We've got some locations where the desks are floating, like the auditors are, of course.
Yeah, so that might be like a float.
We're bringing power and data to the floor, one way or another. And we got flexibility because of the lower level.
Yeah, but if there's any sheets on here that you see listed, you're like, I really want to see that one, I can make it happen. I've got them all here. so just in
As
case.
far as the schedule, as we said, the 27th, we'll be complete with the DDs, and we'll have that updated budget number for that. CDs, we say complete for review around October 29th. That might be 95 or 98% complete, it won't be 100% complete. It'll be pretty close. There's always refinements that we seem to need to make in that last month, so. And then the only other schedule item we had on there was that DNR grant identified and how the timing of that might fall into this too. Then we had some loose ends, updated site plans. Is there anything?
These items, I believe, are items for the cost estimator.
Oh, okay,
So these are items that we talked about in the meeting that we'll update on our drawings, so that the cost estimator will be aware that we wanted, the under slab insulation on the lower level, and,
those are decisions that were already made.
that were made
These things that-
previously that will impact the cost typically to reduce the cost.
So, other future meeting dates, we have one set for September 17th, and we see that primarily as kind of reviewing interior finishes and selections.
So we basically do have floor heat in the basement then?
Well, you have a less cold floor just because we're gonna do the 2 inches of the rigid insulation underneath the concrete slab, but we're not gonna do radiant heat or anything. We're just,
Unless you want to do radiant heat. Did we talk about that at one time?
it's just, if this is your concrete floor, instead
you have to
of all the
go
rock
on the
coming,
system.
Mhm.
all the way up, we're gonna do 2
Oh.
inches
These are
of
some,
insulation
Geothermal, so
underneath
it's easy.
before the ground starts, so that the cold ground temperature doesn't seep into the slab, so it will feel warmer on your feet.
Right.
But we're not gonna add any heat.
Okay, because, a lot of residential now is putting floor heat in, and you basically don't need any other kind of ducts. I mean,
yeah.
and it feels warmer.
Yeah,
I'm gonna defer to me.
usually we do
Yeah,
that.
well,
I mean,
we
a
can-
68-degree temperature down there really feels closer to 72 just because of the, coming off of the floor.
There's one point where I agree with adding the insulation is that if you looked at a temperature profile that, the ground being 55 and the room being 72, it moves that point down where that equilibrium would be. So now, instead of the floor being 68, it might be 70. You know what I mean? So that insulation will actually bring your floor temp up a few degrees. But it's not gonna be the same as in-floor heat. you're right that in-floor heat would eliminate ductwork, except that we still have to have cooling. And so we're gonna have, the units there are ready for cooling, but are also gonna heat the space. So, as far as the design goes, in-floor heat would be an add, it wouldn't be a substitute. We're still gonna have a heating and cooling unit
What-
based on the system we have.
What would you estimate that it may add to the project if we went in the supervisor's area?
Just your desk?
None of the storage spaces, it might
The
be
few various
maybe
offices.
25% of the floor
Yeah,
area.
you don't need it in the storage area.
No, we wouldn't need it in
Or
the
you-
storage
or
or any
you-
of that. You really wouldn't need it in the bathrooms, you
Actually, it
wouldn't
might
need
be
it.
more like 15% of the floor area.
Okay.
You know, you got economic development and Barb down there, and if we had the floor heat, like I say, in those areas, why,
Off the top of my head, I can't say,
sure,
but
but why don't we take
But
that
we
as
can
Yeah,
have
I can
that-
take a
we
look
can
at
have
it.
On the 27th, so
let's
that we
look at that as an
budget.
option.
yep, we can sketch it in as an option.
We can have it listed in the cost estimate
Yeah,
as an additional, as an add, as one of the options, and then you can see what the
Yeah.
difference would be.
I can kind of take a guess at what that layout would look like and then talk to you guys about specifically what spaces we're looking at, so
okay.
we can dial in on that.
It's very nice. I worked at a place that had it, and it didn't so much heat as it made it less cold for the floor, and as soon as that happened, it was
Pretty comfortable.
yeah.
And we've done it in places where there are high ceilings, so you're not heating the whole volume of the space. It's radiant heat.
This is true. It does add the advantage of adding some comfort, so you're not, it'll save the amount of energy you're using on the, it kind of substitutes it, so radiant is a more comfortable heat, so.
Yeah, that's,
You might have the space temperature set a couple degrees cooler because you have the warm floor,
well, I
so.
do at home, that's why.
Yep,
So the
I like the
challenge is
idea of-
looking at, if it costs a little bit more, what's the
There
return
might
on
be some savings.
investment? When does it pay for itself with lower utility costs? And we'd have to estimate that. Okay.
See, if we're comfortable, we'll stay at work longer.
Yeah.
Well, that
Productivity will
provides a
increase,
very
right?
quick
So-
return on investment. You have to calculate your hourly rate. though.
Yeah, so we need to know how much you make, and then we'll take that.
Okay. So the meeting in September 17th, we're gonna be looking at a lot of the interior stuff. And then on October 8th, we'll be looking at other casework and details related to that, architectural details. Obviously, we're a little further ahead on the courtroom side because that impacts the costing so much. So that's a good thing for us, but those are the things we're gonna be focused on, getting more into the detail, even so than we have so far. And then October 29th, we'll be coming back with probably, like I said, 95 to 98% complete CDs and specification manual. We'll have a lot of front ends, so probably in September, we'll be asking you a lot of questions about the front end of the spec and making sure all the regulations are covered.
Are you gentlemen comfortable making finished selections?
Don't you have people that do that?
That's a
No,
trick
I know.
question. We make
I was
recommendations
just
to
going
you.
to ask
That's
if
what I want.
you're not comfortable doing it, is there anybody else that you want to invite to the meeting? I'm just putting it out there, because sometimes when we do projects, the principal will ask certain ladies who are more interested in the finishes to provide input. So if there's anybody you want, think about them at the September meeting.
Another kind of related topic is, we've talked about integrating artwork, kind of the historical stuff. There are a couple ways to integrate artwork into the design. One way that when we've gotten a requirement, say in a federal building or a state building, we're given a budget, say it's 1% of the total project budget is spent on art. What we would typically do is we'd say, okay, as an example, we did one at Iowa State where there was a floor area and it was going to be terrazzo, and we wanted an artist to develop the design, and then the installer would put it in. We would say, we want a design that tells this story. And then the artist would be responsible to come up with those designs and then submit them to us, and we would review them until we were happy with it. We'd give them a budget. Here's the allowance for the cost of what that design needs to be, and then we'd have the terrazzo contractor say, oh, here, that one's a little bit more, so you gotta change it until you get it there. But the artist does a lot of it. Another one on that same project, there were some sconce light fixtures, and we wanted the sconce light fixtures to reflect a certain theme too. So we gave them a theme, and we said, here's the budget, but you have to not only design them, but produce them. So the artist developed the designs for those light fixtures, and the theme was to tell the story of, this was for international students. International students at Iowa State University, what's the history of that? So they had to kind of reflect an international feel, however you do that. So that's kind of the way that works. Another way to do it in a lot of museums that we've done is we just had the designers that are part of our team develop designs that might be in flooring surface or murals that we've identified, and we just make screen prints, and we put the exact designs right in the bid documents and the contractors provide the pricing. But we know, we've got obviously some ideas, and we've spoken with some of the cultural resources in the county already about it. So just wondered if you had a preference for anything specific or a process of how you'd like to see it go. Or you want us to just say, here's what we recommend.
The only thing that comes to mind as you're going through this is you go down to the CRC and there's any number of blowing up old pictures, and they have a lot of interest. And maybe that is something, instead of modern artwork in that we could try to come up with those pictures from the last 30 to 140 years, and pay the money to have them blowing up, framed, and numerous, because especially if they can put a little history down below of what it is and the era and so on, I think that would probably, and that then it does relate to, I mean, if we had something for even like Bailey and some of these, no, I think we could, you know, we could fill that whole building up with this type of thing if we wanted to. And
We were hoping to do something that was maybe a little more built in as well, so that, you know, we already have to put flooring in, and nowadays with laser cutting, it's pretty easy to do a pattern. And maybe we do a pattern that shows the boundary of the county with where the municipalities are within the county, or the townships within the county.
yeah, that's
We can create something like that, put it on the floor. We can find, you know, we found some historic artists from the area. We can find some of their works that we think might be appropriate and simply make screen prints of them and mount them on acoustical panels. Now, we talked about it in the courtrooms, Ray just stepped out. Those are considered a distraction in the courtrooms, so we can't do it there, but there may be other places where we could do it. We could do it in the lobby outside and do some acoustical panels out there, which probably wouldn't hurt because there's some hard surfaces. We could do it on outside the entries, but something that brings the character of the county back in, that actually built in and has a functional thing. And then photographs and things, we might be able to make murals out of those and screen print them on the fabric and use that as the acoustical panel. And if 10 years from now, it's a little shoddy, you just screen print another one and resurface that acoustical panel.
Oh, there's a lot of pictures down there that are of interest. You know, I don't know if you've been down there and seen them.
I was down there, yeah.
Okay. I mean, every time you go down there, there's always people standing there looking at them, you know.
Well,
And
do
I
you
think
want
if we
us to
put
make
a-
selections? Do you want to make selections? How would you like?
I mean,
to
I
go
think
about
if we done whatever, I mean, pictures could come out of the woodwork. I mean, people have them at home if they
There's that too, right?
if they understood that they could be part of, and they may even be up there for 6 months, put away for a year, and like you say, do
That's
some
true, too.
rotating, that they're not, but I mean, if I knew some of my pictures were gonna be there, I'd be excited to possibly try to come up with.
And we do have some locations for some cases too, so the pictures won't just be hanging on the wall.
Yeah,
It'd be in a case, in some cases where you just are worried about your picture. But
Right.
usually you'd reproduce it.
yeah.
Okay. We'll keep looking into that, but it sounds like the idea of the county boundary and a little bit of people seeing a visual, maybe in the flooring or something would be a good one, or even if.
Well, even the talking point there is, there's a number of areas in the county that was an original kind of town site. I mean, maybe never
Towns that don't
developed.
exist anymore?
Yeah,
or-
never developed in that. And I mean, you start having a few of those laid out, again, that's gonna be talking points. I mean, you know, because I'm thinking there was something else.
Livonia,
Yeah, I mean, there's that type of thing.
Ammonia?
Livonia,
Oh, Livonia.
Rocktown. I know why that
Okay,
one.
good.
There's one over in the western part too, I can't even think of what the name of
Yeah.
that used to be. I mean, they're just like stagecoach stop, I suppose, you know, Brownsville. So there's all kinds of those in the history of Mitchell County.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so you add something that's a talking point instead of just St. Ansgar, Osage, Stacyville, and the,
You know, one in Blue Riceville, because they're
Riceville.
happy.
yeah. We'll just put the rice there.
Rice. Bill is over in Pelican.
Okay. Well, we'll keep looking at ways to integrate that, and when we come back on September 17th, we'll
Okay.
have some of those. We need to, we'll put them into the budget too, so we kind of create allowances for it, so that, you know, we don't want to add to the budget just arbitrarily, and the idea of being able to integrate it into some components that are already there helps a lot.
Yeah.
That's everything we have. Do you have anything else that you want to cover?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we're gonna proceed with the systems we talked about last time. There were a mix of heat pumps and the variable refrigerant system. And we've got a solid layout on the geofield now, so I think we feel like we can really start getting things worked into your design and.
Is this courthouse gonna be hooked to the generator outside the law enforcement?
I'll have to ask James. I think that they were gonna look at the capacity of it and see.
Okay.
um,
Is there anything, say the power would go off, but then there's the like, elevator?
Are the elevators required now to have
we'll
emergency
ask.
backup?
Typically, we'll install, they're not required to by the state of Iowa, but we've added battery backup systems for the elevator. We can check with James to see if he's incorporated in his
Honestly,
design.
in Osage, that I can remember, maybe, you know, we have a municipal generator in Osage.
Mhm.
It's really a redundancy to add more generation, but we really need it.
Right.
And I think that would be, even just the transfer panels would be, that would have to save us some money if we didn't have to have those.
Mhm.
Okay,
How many-
anything else?
How many finishes are you bringing next week, next month?
Film room, whatever.
I'm just saying that it can be overwhelming, so
Well,
if
I
you need
can-
backup,
I have
you should bring.
some people in mind, that sorry to stand, I mean,
We'll have carpets, we'll
Yeah.
have paint colors.
Yeah, carpet, and
Well, I know,
there'll
like-
be some different boards with different kind of
You got
tones
tile,
and
yeah, I know.
stuff like that, so if you want a cooler or warmer or, you know.
we'll have door,
We don't want
the
bright
wood,
blue and
door
orange.
finish for doors.
You know what I'm saying?
What's your favorite sports team though?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
want red and-
Bright blue and
gold,
orange, yeah.
gold and black, or red and gold, or, no, I mean, that's the,
Well, it will be courtroom worthy.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that we,
and then
that we
maybe let the
suggest
courtroom
would be
people
that.
pick that out,
Okay.
because they're more in tune to what the rest of the state has, you know, we don't wanna have.
So you want to work with the court on this?
I absolutely,
Yes,
yes.
they were asking me, what type of wood decided yet.
Well, the only other thing they ought to work also though with Dave, because he has to
And
clean.
Dave has to,
Mhm.
yeah, that's why I
And,
want him to here to see the stuff, because.
I mean, I'm more of it interested in what the suites area looks like, and I really, in a lot of respects, don't get excited in what the first floor is, because I don't have to, you know, you're up there a little bit, but you know what I'm saying, that, those are the people that gotta live up there, and
I think the most important areas are like the public entry and
Yeah.
seating area up above. And courtrooms. And then everything else should be pretty much the same.
I would think so.
Yeah, see, people aren't gonna pick out their own carpets for
No.
this space, so.
No.
No, and I think they'll generate the schemes based on what you guys decided when we were here with Don and had all the samples. And we had the types of carpet and stuff, so our interior designer will take that information and then go with that. So you already kind of have a head start. It's just, this is gonna be more detailed.
Okay, well, that's fine, as long as
Okay.
it's,
yeah.
we're not,
What type of wood have you used in your other facilities? You probably don't
So
know.
she,
vinyl base.
No, what door? What about wood doors?
Rubber tree.
I think they're mostly oak over there, aren't they, at the county services?
mhm.
I think down
The
at the
new
sheriff's
library,
offices,
the new library is probably,
it's all oak over there.
okay.
But I'm not opposed to some other wood species, because anymore you just see so much of it.
Iowa has a lot of wood.
Yeah.
I know,
We have a lot of walnut too.
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Along the river, I think there's a lot of it.
That was one of them.
Oak,
Cherry.
yeah.
Are we gonna try to
Hickory.
get certified lumber or certified?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I think it should be something that's relatively local.
Yeah. Somewhere local.
So walnut, it could be walnut, it could be burl.
Yeah, anything we can do to use local materials, I mean, we wanna do that.
Cottonwood.
Cottonwood, yeah, cottonwood.
I got one, you can cut that one.
30 years ago, you
If
cut
you
that
want,
all down.
if you want maple flooring, we got a big gymnasium, we're salvaging some maple flooring too.
We did that down here, and they cut them up in little pieces and sell them to help pay for the new. So, yeah.
Ray, anything else?
I don't have anything else. Scott, I did talk to Scott. That was the question that Scott had. He had another question too, but it'll come back to me. But we'll have more next time. And I was actually, thought we could bring some,
Oak and walnut together.
we could bring some wood samples next
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Just to, so,
Why don't we go out and take a look at that?
At the precast.
Yeah,
sample.
we'll look at the precast sample, and then I'll show you the different color options for the paper stone. I think I'll just, is that okay if we leave our stuff here and
Yep.
just pop out, is that all right?
Oh, yeah, that was.
Please are welcome to come check out the precast if you want, or maybe you don't find that as exciting.
Well,
I do.
you know, none of us knew about this meeting, so nobody got the agenda.
Yeah,
Which is
apparently
part
there
of
is
the
a
meeting.
public agenda. They did not do it this time, and that is way off base.
Yeah, well, we'll just say,
what was the meeting not, nobody was notified?
That's right. The public was not notified of this.
just had the agenda
It's
for
a
their
very
meeting.
serious error.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Well, they may have thought it was being canceled like all the other ones. We were supposed to have, this is the first meeting we've had since the schematic.
The law
I think
requires
so.
that public notice is given with an agenda,
Yeah,
and there's no argument with that.